Every day I wake up and I feel so alive.
At what point in your life did you make the conscious choice to create a different life for yourself and break free from the chains of the Jehovah's Witness ideology?
Well, first off, from the beginning, I wasn't into it. Like, as soon as I went to the first Kingdom Hall, it did not feel good to my system. And I don't know, as a child, it's just, you have certain feelings that didn't feel good. Now, I am not, my father still is to this day, all the power for it, because I feel that he's still a great man. I still feel that there's good people within the religion and things like that. So I don't knock it entirely, because I find problems with all of them. So it's not just like, oh, this one is terrible. Yeah. I find flaws and good things in all of them. So, but for me, I found that the lack of individual self-expression and your connection to the divine or God or Christ was something that was minimized instead of maximized.
Absolutely.
Right? Mm-hmm. So by having that minimized, it really hurt your ability to express and grow in the unique way that you were created. Mm-hmm. And now, I didn't know that when I was a child, but it just felt like a cult. Even some churches feel like cults. Like, everything just kind of feels like a cult where obedience is more important than passion. Right? So I got that, and that was something that was really, I was just like, okay, everybody is kind of pushed down and just in a single file line instead of your full expression of spirit.
Mm-hmm. And living authentically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. How old were you, though? You said
probably 5. Like, I just remember my
that
first
was my
time.
Question.
Yeah.
At 5, you stepped into the church and you were just like,
no, this place is just, it's not a good feeling. It's, if you go into a graveyard or somewhere scary as a child, you can just go someplace and be like, it's kind of eerie to me.
Yeah.
And it's just off. So my system is
felt the oppressive nature.
Yeah, it just did not feel like the joy of God. Let's talk about that, right? Yeah. So if you're feeling like this is supposed to be a place where you're connected to the divine, you're supposed to be connected to, what I would consider, God is love, and we're connected to the source of love. It didn't feel like the nurturing love of the mother or the powerful love of the father. I didn't feel either of them there.
Yeah.
For me, I think it was around the age of like 9 or 10 where I felt myself kind of out of my body, where I was like, why am I here? And like everyone around me, I felt like they were just out of their minds because it didn't make sense to me. Like, I feel like I was around that age when things just didn't make sense, but I knew I had to follow along because I wasn't of age to be able to ever get out of it as of yet, So that's interesting that you knew so early. I think it just all depends on what's happening. I mean, I felt the love. My mom was like such a lover. And so I did feel love and I did feel community. But then I was like, this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life.
One of the things with that is like, I felt that there was more, there was more focus on obedience than connection.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You must obey these rules.
It was more obedience than anything else. So that's the part that really just didn't
resonate.
And I felt there was more focus on obedience than understanding. It was just, if I could regurgitate certain things from the Bible, if I could do these different things, but if I don't necessarily integrate them into my life, they're okay with it.
Yes.
They're okay with me just, operating with obedience. And that can only get you so far.
Absolutely.
Right. And that's why I feel that most people break away from religion is because they're just looking for your obedience.
Yes.
And as soon as you're looking for deeper understanding, you start questioning things, you start looking like a heretic, or you're questioning the different belief systems. Yes. It's kind of like an employee who wants to do more. It's like, oh, I'm really interested in it. I really want to know all about it. Then all of a sudden you're starting to get shut down. You don't feel that you can grow within that space anymore.
Every day I wake up and I feel